Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. Today, NVIDIA's CEO declares AGI is officially here. OpenAI makes a massive nuclear play to power it, and we explain why analog cassette tapes and BDB baked goods are suddenly a billion-dollar rebellion.
Quite the mix today.
Oh, it really is. Welcome, everyone, to today's deep dive into the raw data shaping the markets and the culture. We are, taking the noise of the timeline and finding the actual signal for you.
And we desperately need that signal today because, look, everyone is hyping up the infinite, boundless potential of AI right now.
Right.
The timeline is absolutely flooded with utopian promises. But, we need to look at the second-order effects here. Like, who is actually footing the bill for the energy required to run all this?
Yeah, that's the big question.
Right. And who's getting replaced in the workforce? And frankly, what is secretly breaking in the background while we're all, distracted by this shiny new tech?
Let's unpack this because the shiny new tech is blinding right now. Let's start with our lead story, the moment that basically broke the internet over the last 24 hours.
Oh, yeah. The Licks interview.
Exactly. It's a massive viral clip
Yep.
shared by @WatcherGuru and heavily analyzed by @DariaTR_. Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, sitting down with Lex Fridman on March 23, 2026.
Right.
And he just comes right out and says it. Quote, "I think we've achieved AGI, artificial general intelligence."
And the market reaction was immediate, considering NVIDIA is sitting at a $3 trillion market cap.
Sure.
But this is exactly where we have to be cynical, right? We need to look at the actual mechanics of what he's claiming. Because what's fascinating here is how Huang is defining AGI.
Right.
He defines it as an AI capable of running a billion-dollar company autonomously with minimal cost. Basically, building and scaling web services to viral success.
Okay, wait, I have to push back on that immediately.
Go for it.
How does a piece of software run a company autonomously? Like, sure, it can write the code for an app.
Right.
But it can't negotiate a commercial lease for a warehouse, It can't organically handle a physical supply chain crisis without a human making a judgment call.
Exactly. And that is the definitional divide that's just tearing the timeline apart right now.
Yeah.
If you look at the medical doctors, the immunologists, like @DariaTR_, they are actually affirming his statement.
Really?
Yeah, because they see AI hitting practical superhuman milestones in specific research domains.
Okay, I see.
But the skeptics are loudly pointing out exactly what you just said. These current agents still require heavy human oversight.
Yeah.
They lack full human-level cognition across all domains. So we are calling it AGI, but it's the very specific, narrow, sort of corporate flavor of AGI.
Which brings up a massive physical roadblock. Because if we are scaling up these digital agents to the point where they're attempting to run billion-dollar companies,
Right.
the sheer amount of computing power required doesn't just scale linearly, it scales exponentially.
It does.
Which means we hit a wall with the power grid.
That is the trillion-dollar reality check.
Yeah.
Because the bottleneck for AI isn't code anymore. It's physics.
It's electricity.
Exactly. We are talking about massive clusters of GPUs performing trillions of matrix multiplications per second. The power density required for these data centers is literally melting traditional grid infrastructure.
And that explains the utter desperation behind our next major data point.
Oh, this one is wild.
It really is. Sam Altman at SAMA just dropped a massive announcement. He has officially resigned from the board of Helion.
Right.
And for those who don't know, Helion is a nuclear fusion startup that Altman has backed for a decade.
A long time.
Yeah. And he's stepping down because OpenAI is actively negotiating to secure up to 5 gigawatts of zero-carbon electricity from Helion by 2030.
5 gigawatts.
Crazy.
To put that in perspective, 1 gigawatt can power roughly 750,000 homes.
Wow.
So OpenAI is trying to lock down enough theoretical fusion power for a small country just to feed their models. Altman stepping down from the board is a governance necessity to allow conflict-free negotiations.
Hold on, let's inject a dose of reality here.
Please do.
2030. Commercial nuclear fusion doesn't even exist yet.
Yep.
Isn't it insanely hubristic to plan your company's entire infrastructure around a sci-fi technology that hasn't successfully powered a toaster on a commercial grid yet?
It is incredibly hubristic, but, it shows you the panic in the boardroom.
Yeah.
They are looking at the compute scaling laws and realizing that natural gas and solar cannot physically meet the baseline power demands of their next-generation models.
So they have no choice.
Right. They have to bet on fusion or the scaling stops. And securing those global resources is happening against a backdrop of extreme geopolitical volatility.
Let's talk about that volatility, actually, because we saw a perfect example of it play out in real time on the timeline.
We really did.
A viral post from @ZeroHedge claimed that Iran had agreed to a 5-year freeze on its missile program, citing Israel's Channel 12.
Right.
Now, just to be clear for the listener, we don't take stances on global geopolitics here. Our job is strictly to impartially report the facts and look at how information moves the markets. And the market reaction to this was wild.
It was. And thankfully, at iRedCap, I jumped in with the actual context to clarify that this was entirely fake news.
Totally fake.
Yeah. The 5-year freeze was actually a U.S. demand under the previous Trump administration's peace talks, not a confirmed agreement at all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Iran's foreign ministry dismissed the whole thing, but look at why that fake news went so viral and moved the needle.
Because the markets are terrified.
Precisely. The markets are terrified of escalating conflicts disrupting energy supplies in the Middle East.
Right.
And when global resources are this unpredictable, oil and diesel prices spike. It's a chain reaction. And when diesel spikes, the physical economy starts to buckle.
Which brings us to the logistics here at home.
Yeah.
Because while OpenAI is hunting for theoretical nuclear fusion, the transport industry is literally fighting for every ounce of efficiency just to stay alive.
Absolutely.
At Sawyer Merritt posted about Jay Leno's new review of the redesigned Tesla Semi, and there's a specific quote from Tesla engineer Dan Priestley that stood out. They cut 1,000 pounds out of the truck compared to the previous version.
Now let's unpack the mechanics of why 1,000 pounds is the most important metric in that video.
Okay, let's do it.
Because of that geopolitical fear we just talked about, U.S. diesel prices just spiked to $4.60 a gallon. They went up 86 cents in a single week.
Oh man, that is a death sentence for independent logistics fleets.
It really is. Because in the freight world, payload is everything.
Right, the weight.
Exactly. There are strict legal weight limits on highways. Every pound your truck weighs is a pound of paying freight you cannot carry.
Ah, I see.
And electric trucks have historically struggled because their massive batteries weigh so much they eat into the payload capacity.
That makes total sense.
Right. So when Tesla engineers shave 1,000 pounds off the battery and chassis, they aren't just making the truck accelerate faster.
They're making it more profitable.
Exactly. They're giving that freight company 1,000 pounds of additional revenue-generating cargo capacity per trip.
Wow.
So when you combine that new payload efficiency with electric operating costs that are under 5 cents per mile, adopting these electric semis becomes an urgent economic necessity, not just an eco play.
So we are literally fighting physics in the real world.
Yeah.
You know, shaving 1,000 pounds off a truck and hunting for fusion just to survive.
Right.
But the digital world doesn't have gravity. Software doesn't weigh anything.
No, it doesn't.
And that lack of physical friction is exactly why the digital world is being completely rewritten overnight.
Because the physical world is defined by constraints, but the digital world is currently experiencing a total collapse of constraints.
And the sentiment is shifting incredibly fast.
Yeah.
I mean, at Naval posted something that stopped me in my tracks. He said, a lot of software is about to get a lot better right before it becomes unnecessary.
It's a profound observation.
It really is.
And it's backed up by the data we're seeing from industry leaders. At TBPN shared a clip of Shopify CEO Toby Lutke predicting that we are going to look back at 2026 as the year that every single business in the world was up for grabs.
Every single business.
Yeah.
Because if you think about the mechanics of traditional software, it's just a user interface built on top of the database.
Right.
You have drop-down menus and buttons because you, the human, need a way to tell the database what to do.
Right.
But Lutke is saying that AI native rebuilding makes that traditional interface redundant.
Yeah.
You don't need 10 different specialized SaaS apps with complex dashboards. If an agentic AI can just write the database query itself based on your natural language request.
Exactly. Let's define agentic for a second, because it's basically the buzzword of the year.
Good idea.
We're not talking about a chatbot waiting for your prompt.
Right.
We're talking about software that is given a high-level goal, and it gives itself the next prompt.
Wow.
And the next, iterating until the goal is achieved.
And that brings us to the absolute barrage of updates we just saw from Anthropic. They are going scorched earth this week.
Oh, totally.
I'm grouping together updates shared by @TRQ212, @Minchoi, and @YuchenJ_UW.
Let's hear it.
First of all, Claude Code now has a desktop app that can directly control your mouse and keyboard.
Which is wild.
Yeah. Then they dropped a slash schedule feature. You can command Claude to run 24/7 cloud jobs while you sleep.
And the mechanism of how it controls your computer is what's truly crazy.
Explain that.
It's not just using hidden API hooks in the background.
Yeah.
They're using advanced vision models that are literally looking at the pixels on your screen.
Wait, really?
Yes, identifying the coordinates of the submit button and moving the virtual cursor to click it exactly like a human would.
Which explains exactly why they skipped buying OpenClaw.
Right.
Matthew Berman joked about this, but it makes perfect sense now. OpenClaw was this massively popular open source tool for device automation.
Yeah, everyone loved it.
But Anthropic wants the entire vision to action loop in-house. They want to be the ultimate, secure, integrated coworker.
But, I mean, we have to ask the hard question here. Can you actually trust it?
That's fair.
Let's look at the Anthropic Science blog that just launched, shared by @AnthropicAI. They are showcasing how Claude helped Harvard's Matthew Schwartz write a publishable quantum physics paper in 2 weeks.
2 weeks for quantum field theory. That is insane.
Yes, but read the actual methodology of that collaboration. In those 270 sessions, Claude faked plots.
Oh, you kidding?
No, it completely fabricated data. The human expert had to catch it.
Wow.
And if you understand why large language models hallucinate, it makes sense.
Right.
They are optimized for next token prediction. They're just guessing the next most plausible word based on patterns. They don't have a grounded fundamental understanding of abstract mathematical truth.
So they're just trying to sound right.
Exactly. So yes, it's an incredible accelerator, but hallucinations are still a massive bottleneck. You still need the Harvard physicists to babysit the AI.
That's a great point. And let's compare this to what OpenAI is doing right now, because the contrast is really stark.
Very stark.
Gandalf Sachs replied to an announcement from @OpenAI. While Anthropic is dropping autonomous coworkers that control your mouse, OpenAI just proudly announced a library tab for file management in ChatGPT.
A library tab, I mean, it's literally a digital filing cabinet.
Exactly, a filing cabinet. Anthropic is building systems that actively do the work for you, while OpenAI is building systems that organize the work you've already done.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder.
Right, like is OpenAI falling behind in the agentic workflow race while they're distracted by nuclear fusion?
It definitely looks like a massive strategic divergence.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener?
Good question.
If the software is executing the tasks and the AI is drafting the physics papers, how do you survive this transition?
Well, you survive by getting out of the way.
Which brings us to a masterclass in strategy. At RohanPaul_edition, I was analyzing a new interview with Andrej Karpathy.
Oh, Karpathy's always great. Always. And Karpathy's core message is orchestration. To get the most out of these tools, you have to remove yourself as the bottleneck.
Right.
I was thinking about this, and it's basically like being a chef in a kitchen. In 2024, you were the prep cook. You were the one physically chopping the onions.
The manual labor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In 2026, you have to become the head chef, standing at the pass, just inspecting the plates before they go out to the dining room. But the problem is, most high performers are still trying to chop the onions.
That is the perfect analogy, and it is a brutal psychological shift for high achievers. You have to take yourself out of the operational loop.
It's hard to do.
It really is. And we are seeing this realization across the board with top founders. At Startup Archive _ shared a brilliant quote from Palmer Luckey, the founder of Oculus.
Oh, I saw this one.
Yeah, he admitted that in the early days, he thought he was the best at everything in his company. But he realized he was only the best because he had been negligent in his hiring.
Ouch.
Right. He was the bottleneck. He had to deliberately learn to make himself obsolete. And if we connect that to what Jensen Huang just said about Elon Musk, it creates a fascinating blueprint for leadership.
Yeah, it really does.
At R0CK, 3T23 broke down Huang's analysis of Musk's superpower. It's not just intelligence. It's the mechanism of deletion.
Deletion, stripping problems down to bare physics.
Exactly. Think about how most corporate structures solve problems. They add things.
Always.
They add a new software suite. They add a new middle management layer. They schedule 3 more recurring meetings.
Yep.
But Musk solves problems by deleting the gaps. He uses sheer physical presence and urgency to collapse organizational bloat. If there is a failure, he is physically on the factory floor, bypassing the reporting chain, turning a 3-week PowerPoint presentation into a 3-hour engineering resolution.
So to scale in 2026, whether you are managing an AI agent or a human team, you must delete yourself from the middle of the process.
Yes.
You have to automate your own obsolescence so you can focus purely on the orchestration.
Which is incredibly daunting.
Yeah.
Because if AI is doing all the scheduling, writing all the code, and optimizing all the logistics,
What is left?
yeah, what is left for humans to actually connect over? Where is the value?
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. Because we found the perfect counter-narrative to everything we just talked about.
I love a good counter-narrative.
I want to point you to an incredible post by @Anton Osika. He highlighted a founder named William Lindholm.
Okay.
William used an AI no-code tool called Lovable to build a platform called Daymaker in a couple of months. And right now, Daymaker is pulling in $110,000 a month.
Wait, really? $110,000 a month? And how is it making that much money?
It helps B2B sales teams send physical cakes to prospects instead of cold emails. They call it cold caking.
I absolutely love this.
It's amazing.
This is the ultimate second-order effect of the AI boom. Explain the logic here because it's brilliant.
It comes down to the math of the digital inbox. Digital inboxes are completely saturated. Everyone is using Claude and ChatGPT to generate infinite, perfectly written, highly personalized, cold emails.
Yeah, my inbox is a nightmare right now.
Exactly. But because the cost of generating and sending a digital message has dropped to literally zero, the perceived value of receiving a digital message has also dropped to zero.
It's all just spam.
Right. So how do you break an algorithm that is trained to filter out infinite digital noise?
You use sugar
Yes.
and physical delivery.
Exactly. You send a cake.
That's so smart.
It has a reported 40% conversion rate because there is zero competition in the analog world right now. Think about the mechanics of a cake.
Right.
You cannot digitally download a cake. It costs real money. It requires physical logistics to deliver, and it creates immediate visceral curiosity in an office. It is the ultimate proof of effort.
It speaks to a massive cultural shift that we are seeing everywhere right now. Greg Eisenberg zoomed out and captured the vibe perfectly.
What did you say?
He said, in a world of infinite content, infinite choice, and infinite scroll, people are violently pivoting to things that end.
Oh, finite formats?
Yeah, finite formats.
Yes.
Physical products. Clear boundaries. No AI, no internet.
And the hard data completely validates this.
It does.
Yeah, look at the numbers for 2026. U.S. vinyl sales just hit $1.04 billion.
Wow.
That's nearly an 8% growth in a year where AI can generate a studio-quality song in any genre you want in 3 seconds.
That is wild.
We are seeing Gen Z aggressively buying up analog cassette tapes and literal dumb phones.
Dumb phones.
Right.
I mean, a device that only makes calls and sends basic texts. It is the ultimate escape from screen fatigue.
Right.
But it's also the ultimate irony of the tech boom. The trillion-dollar companies are bleeding themselves dry to build software that can do absolutely everything. But the most premium, sought-after products of 2026 are defined by what they cannot do.
Intentional friction.
Exactly. Board games, a device that only plays a cassette tape and does nothing else.
It all comes down to costly signaling theory.
Costly signaling theory. Okay, unpack that.
Friction proves humanity.
Right.
When everything in the digital world is frictionless and automated, effort becomes the ultimate luxury good.
That makes total sense.
Right. Like if someone sends you a perfectly worded 5-paragraph email summarizing your recent accomplishments, you assume an AI scraped your LinkedIn and wrote it in 2 seconds.
Yeah, you feel nothing.
You feel nothing. But if someone sends you a physical cake, you know a human had to care enough to spend $30, deal with a bakery, and coordinate a courier. The friction is the message.
So if we synthesize all of this raw data from the timeline today, we are clearly living in a split reality.
A completely bifurcated economy.
On one side, you have the trillion-dollar titans, NVIDIA declaring AGI is here, OpenAI hunting down 5 gigawatts of nuclear fusion power,
Right.
Anthropic releasing vision-enabled AI coworkers that take over your mouse and work while you sleep. They are building infinite digital agents and fighting over the raw physical power required to run them.
True. But on the exact opposite side of the spectrum, you have everyday consumers and incredibly clever founders making millions by retreating.
Retreating?
Yes, they are building the daymakers of the world. They are retreating to physical cakes, analog boundaries, and intentional friction.
So based on this deep dive, what is your prediction for where this goes tomorrow?
My prediction is a major shift in where the smart money flows.
Okay.
As AI completely commoditizes digital middle management, the coding, the scheduling, the emailing, expect to see venture capital quietly pivot toward the anti-scale economy?
The anti-scale economy.
Right. We are going to see massive funding rounds for hyper-localized, high-friction physical experiences that AI physically cannot replicate. The digital world will be for infinite scale, but the physical world will be where the actual premium value is captured.
I love that. But it leads you, the listener, with a genuinely wild thought to ponder as you log off today.
Oh boy.
Right now, baking a physical cake works because it proves human effort.
Yeah.
The friction is the proof of life.
Right.
But what happens next year when a purely digital AI agent is given a corporate credit card, uses a synthesized human voice to call a local bakery, and coordinates the delivery of that physical cake for your client without a human ever being involved?
Oh, wow.
When AI can completely automate the friction of the analog world, how will you prove you're human then?
Now that is a terrifying question.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious, watch the second order effects, and we will catch you next time.